Now, if you don't have ADHD or autism, and none of your friends or family do either, you might think there's not much point in listening to a podcast about it. Well, you'd be wrong. I'm ADHD, No You're Not, is hosted by the comedian Paul Whitehouse and his wife, Dr. Minna Chonkbayer. And it's all about tackling misconceptions about those conditions. And for their latest episode, they're joined by 16-year-old podcaster Daniel Evans, who talks about his experience with neurodiversity. Here is a little taster.
I wish every teacher knew that when you're talking to them, you're not just in their mind. You've got hundreds, if not thousands, of voices in their minds going like, what did I have for breakfast last week?
What did I have?
What am I doing after school?
Yeah.
Why is he fell asleep?
Yeah.
Why is he picking his nose? You know what I mean? You all overlap each other,
Yeah.
and how tiring that could be as well.
Oh, it's lovely to see you all in the studio. Dan, can I start with you? Because we spoke, didn't we, a couple of years ago about your podcast and this programme. What was it like for you to go on and talk about ADHD on their podcast?
It was a bit surreal, to be honest, because I've watched their stuff when I was planning to have my podcast. So I was online looking at them, looking up to them, and then to get an email saying, would you like to go on? Oh, it was like weird, but like so good in a way. Because I've been looking up to them, and Paul, I've watched you with my dad having a heart attack, and
Did I cause it?
Yeah, you're to blame.
My mum's read loads of your books as well, so it's just a pleasure to just be on.
And what did you guys, who've been doing this for a long time, had all sorts of guests on. I mean, what did you learn from talking to Dan?
Just how difficult it is to be a neurodivergent child and teen in the mainstream education system. He was locked in a cupboard by his teacher, you know. It's just, we laugh. No, that's we'll take that out. There's so much ignorance around ADHD that I think just needs to be smashed. It really does. And if our podcast can help these dialogues and help to change misperceptions about what it is to be ADHD, then I'm all for it. And I think we are making a difference.
Well, I hope so. Also, we've had some really high-profile guests on. We had Helen George, you know, an exclusive with her, and that was fantastic. We've got people like Gary Newman, we've had John Lydon on. It's alphabetic spaghetti. And then we get Dan on, and he speaks more eloquently than most of them, you know. And he's a Scouser. Yeah. Oh, like London.
Is that a good impression, Dan? Is it?
I've tried. How many times did I do my dodgy Scouse?
A lot.
Yeah, it was only when I did George Harrison, but it's remotely rang true.
That's a very
that wasn't
good,
a bad joke,
very good
was it?
form of Beatle. That. Yeah. And for those who haven't listened or don't know much about the podcast, it's called ADHD ... No You're Not, and that's not you having a pop at it, is it?
It's I'm ADHD. No, you're not.
Yeah.
Because there is such a. We went to see a comedy show, didn't we? And 5 of the 6, 7 acts that came on walked out and said, "Good evening, I'm ADHD." And it was like suddenly we thought, well, we really need, we need to like have a look at this, especially where comedians are concerned. Seems to be everywhere, and I think the comedy mind benefits in a way from having
that
ADHD tendencies.
Yeah.
But it did seem like it was prevalent, wasn't it? And you wanted to do the podcast anyway. I was a bit reluctant initially, but that tipped it over for me. I thought, we've got to have a look at this,
One of my main reasons for wanting to do it, having had a late diagnosis at the age of 43, is because I was always thinking it was around the complex trauma that I'd been diagnosed with and the anxiety and the depression. And that's very similar for a lot of girls and women who have been later diagnosed with ADHD. I thought it was anxiety, it was depression, because it manifests very differently than how it does for boys and men. So to get those female voices on has been really liberating.
So you were diagnosed at 43, which is the opposite end of the scale to Dan. Talk us through what happened to you, Dan, as young as 4, is that right?
Yeah, so I got diagnosed with autism at 4 and then ADHD at 9.
And Mina was talking about what you went through at school. Do you mind talking about that? How did it work for you? What was that journey like?
So nursery was okay. They knew something was off, but we couldn't really pinpoint it. And then as soon as I joined primary school, in reception in primary school, they wanted to exclude me in like the first week or something. And my mum was like, "Oh no, I can, what can I do?"
And what were you doing? Or what did they see about you that was making you want to do that?
They were just, instead of sitting down, I was walking around. I was wanting to be outside. I just wanted to explore and I didn't want to sit still.
Play, really,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We should encourage that, really,
Yeah.
shouldn't we?
You should encourage curiosity and wanting to learn more, because that's what education is. Education is being creative and problem solving. And go on.
It's just interesting, isn't it? Because how do we manage? Manage might not be the right word. By the way, if I say anything that you think don't say that, or I've said something that's ignorant,
No, we like it.
or
We like
clumsy,
you putting your foot in it.
will you pick me up on it? Because I think that's really important as part of the education.
It is. No, you're absolutely right. But, look, it's tough for teachers. I think it's one of the toughest jobs. And, most people would run screaming from being a teacher. But it is, we do have to try and develop ways to understand and involve children like Dan without castigating them and putting them on meds necessarily.
Well, can I ask you, because I mentioned that you guys were on a couple of years ago, and do you think the conversation is more informed now than it was? We were talking outside, weren't we, about last September, the President said there was a link between autism and Tylenol.
President Trump?
Yes.
What, the world's most intelligent man? Yeah. I think we'll take whatever he says
but
with a pinch of salt, because he'll have forgotten what he said and contradict himself within 5 minutes.
But that's part of the discussion. That's what I'm talking about.
It's tricky to answer, with regard to how far we've progressed, because as long as ADHD is in the DSM, then I don't think we've made enough progress, because that is a big book of mental disorders. That's what it is. I also don't agree that it's a disability, and a lot of people will go, no, of course it is, you don't know how it impacts my life. I do, because I am an ADHD, but I also believe wholeheartedly that it is a natural variation in how our brains work.
Which is why you don't like it being called a disorder. You'd rather it was called
Absolutely.
a difference.
We
Is that
don't
right?
have a mental disorder. It's a neurotype, absolutely. But in the right environment, with the right support network, we can absolutely thrive. And this is why we have legislation protecting us, the Equality Act 2010. Employers have a legal responsibility to provide reasonable adjustments for neurodivergent people to help them to thrive and do the best they can.
Your podcast is very successful, but I've got to say, his has got a much better name.
It's brilliant.
Danifesto.
It is superb.
Don't worry.
It is superb.
That's
And Dan, what do you want to do with your podcast? Is it about education? Is it about showing people what you're going through and what others are feeling?
So when I was younger, I was just misunderstood most of the time, and it really scares me that there's people out there who either in the world or in the UK or anywhere who don't have that support that I had when I was younger. And it scares me as well, because the school I go to is an SEN school, one of the best schools ever, in my opinion. Classrooms are classes of 6, 6, 7 or something, and it's just.
Who's told you?
Who's told you
to get 6, 7 in this instance? Somebody somewhere.
So about 5 or 6, let's say that. So about 5 for the classes, about 5 or 6. But there's people.
As opposed to 40, 45.
Oh.
45.
Yeah. So it really scares me, because there's people out there who haven't got that support, who haven't got that education that I did, and they must be going through a lot. So I want my podcast to be something where they can kind of lean on.
Yeah.
So how people watch entertainment for pleasure, and I want it to be a platform where people can go and they might, that sounds a bit like me when I was younger. Maybe I need to go through a diagnosis. Or...
I hope you don't mind me telling you, you are a phenomenal ambassador. It's been speaking to these two a few years ago was good, but you've taken it up a notch.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
He's incredible, isn't he? Imagine me when I was 16. Dear me.
Thank you, Dan. The podcast is out today.
Yep.
If you want to listen to more of these three.
With Daniel.
The Danifesto is
We
also
didn't even
available.
get round to talking Vicario.
What's wrong with Vicario?
He's had a hernia op.
Oh, okay.
He's out.
Anything else you want to talk about?
Well, we're already about to be relegated, and now our first choice goalie's out.
You don't have to get Spurs into every single conversation, Paul. More football chat next time he's on, okay? And when Spurs aren't in the Premier League anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Took a lot of time on my hands. Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much for watching as well. We'll see you tomorrow at 5 on 5 from all of us. See you soon.